Let's start, though, with blogging. How important are these random and often arbitrary opinions of tens of millions of people? In what way can they change the debate and influence things like policy and budget? Perhaps on a more basic level, is anyone actually taking notice of all this cyber verbiage? How important in the commercial space as well? We're going to talk about that today with Simona Menghini, who is Senior Vice President for the Southern Region of Text 100. It's a leading communications consultancy that has just completed a global survey on the subject. Simona, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Firstly, for the uninitiated, what is a blog and who is blogging?
A blog could be called like a sort of news or online diary. Some people actually blog about their own life, what they do in their life, what are their interests. So, of course, it's something very personal. And you can see that in the world, blogging is becoming quite fashionable, let's say. But in reality, it started off like a politic issue. For instance, in France, people started to blog about their political opinions and trying to convince people about what they thought. In other countries, instead, it's much more like a gossipy thing, talking about your friends and your private life. And so it can vary.
I want to get to the commercial application in the survey in just a moment, but do they actually have any influence at all? Can they change the way in which people think?
Well, actually, there are several, there is a lot of evidence that in some countries, especially in the USA, where probably the market is much more mature in terms of the internet and the internet penetration, we've seen that companies have had to change their policies because of bloggers discovering and especially putting out there for the readers to see even some bad things that they've done.
So in other words, if I have a bad product or if I've given bad service, the power now resides with the blogger, not necessarily with the corporation. So what you're telling me is that they have huge influence.
Yeah, I think we should think of bloggers as ourselves. We are consumers. So it's like the voice now is with the consumer. Brands should be careful at how they manage their image, because it's no longer about a megaphone giving the world your message about how good you are, but it's actually demonstrating if you walk the talk. So everybody now has a possibility through the internet, through their own blogs or forums also, where people debate about things.
All right, so why did Text 100 undertake the survey? What were you trying to achieve?
Exactly for this reason, because we think as PR practitioners that PR departments at companies or PR consultants like us, we work actually for some clients, should take in serious account the power of the blogosphere and of these people that actually research their own things just for passion, and in some cases they do a really good job. And I'm not saying that everything that is out there in the blogs is totally believable. It's like in a conversation.
But what you're saying is you need a communication strategy in order to deal with the power of blogging.
Let's say that you need to be communication savvy, and especially to think that bloggers are different from journalists, so they actually don't do it, as our survey demonstrates. Many bloggers, especially in South Africa, they are still doing it as a part-time job, not even paid for. So actually they want to talk about things that are important to them. And corporations shouldn't just try to make them write about their products without any respect.
You make the point, in the corporate environment, corporate news releases are out, giving way to something called social media releases. What is a social media release? A social media release is,
we can call it in many ways, but because blogs tend to be called also social media, and other examples are social media are like Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, all these kind of very well-known websites in which people actually interact and they have their own page. So a social media release is a set of news and information that is much more structured than the normal press release in terms of having links to interesting information, videos or photographs, so that whoever receives this social media release can actually pick the building blocks for what they want to write about, rather than just have to write or copy-paste. It's much more a democratic way, if you want.
Well, let's pick up on that democratic way. I think, for me, the most interesting part of the survey is you say sources of information about corporations are mainly other bloggers. It's important for a brand or for an organization to get in front of that and to control the message, isn't it?
Well, corporations are still quite afraid of the fact that the message cannot be controlled anymore. And I think they should just come to grips with that and accept that they cannot control the message. They can only demonstrate that what they are doing is in the right direction and try to see if consumers actually believe them. So what you were referring to is actually what bloggers in South Africa told us. They told us that when they find inspiration for what they want to blog about, in many cases they look at other blogs rather than at the corporate news, things of marketing blurb. They don't like that.
Are you a blogger?
I am also a blogger, yeah.
We're going to leave it there. Simona, thank you very much indeed. Simona Menghini, Senior Vice President for the Southern Region. She's with the communications company at Text 100. Ahead on this week's programme, we're going to put the new Kalula print campaign through the Magzometer. Also coming up, Coke's big plans for 2010.